That is just absolutely wonderful. And for that, I'm going to bring you guys Big Dean energy for this talk. Also, while my slides are coming up, hello, Cosmoverse. It's been fantastic to see everyone this week, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to speak with as many of you as I can. So thank you guys for all making it out of Turkey. Really, really appreciate it. There we go. I think that's the right one. Awesome. Great. And I'm in the middle. Can we start at the beginning? It's not a conference if there's no AV difficulties. It's like on Zoom. So I'm here today to tell you a little bit more about Strangelove and the IBC Roadmap that we're working on and our future vision for the interchain. So just to start off, my name's Jack Zampolin. Many of you guys know me from many of the things I've worked on in Cosmos. The Cosmos SDK, the Cosmos Hub, IBC, Akash, Noble, Sommelier, and many other projects. All right, well, we'll give this one a second. Let's see if they can get this up. Yeah, absolutely, thank you. This is not the beginning of my presentation. There's about a half dozen slides before that. Okay. All right. Well, we're just going to roll with it. Is this really the start of what you guys have? Okay. Okay. They're checking. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Okay, so you know me from all those projects. You might not know everything we do at Strangelove. We've built products at Strangelove like the Go Relayer, Interchaintest, Horcrux, Noble. I'm forgetting a whole ton, but there's a lot of open source work that we do on behalf of the Interchain Foundation that we give back to the Cosmos community. We also do for-profit work with a number of partners like the Wormhole Foundation, Hyperlane, Osmosis grants, DYDX grants, and many, many others that I'm forgetting that you would see in nice logos with my slides. And the core idea behind all of our work is driving forward this vision of IBC that's brought us all to Cosmos originally, connecting all of the blockchain networks and providing a single layer that allows them all to communicate on a peer-to-peer basis. We believe that this is the only way that we're going to drive global blockchain adoption. Asking everyone to settle down to a single layer is kind of inherently on Cosmos. We've always viewed IBC as this way to preserve sovereignty for these individual blockchains. And Strangelove has worked really, really hard to make that happen. Okay, let's just throw up the slides here. We can go in from there. Do you guys mind tossing up what we have? Let's just see where we're at. Yeah.
We don't have your presentation.
They're getting my slides. Give me a minute here. Sorry about the delay, folks. Now dance? What kind of dance do you want me to do, Dean? Happy to do a little Q&A if anyone's got some questions while I've got some time up here. Let's see here. What's the most interesting new relayer feature we're working on? Excellent question. We have a feature that utilizes fee grants that allows you to send transactions from many different accounts concurrently. So this fixes a major issue with relayer throughput where you can only send a single transaction for every block. With this fee grant feature, you can now send an arbitrary number of transactions per block. And this allows those relays to be much more efficient. And I know a bunch of folks out there love to compete on relaying, and this is a great way to get a leg up on your competition. So if you're looking to relay more packets, go try out the new fee grant feature in Relayer. We're really excited about it. Great question, Dean. Any other questions while we're getting started here? Why the name Strangelove? I think that blockchains are sort of this generation-defining innovation in a lot of ways. We don't get many chances as humans to reinvent the way money works. And I think that it's kind of a similar epochal change to a lot of what happened in the 40s and 50s around atomic energy, but in a different way. And I also love kind of how cheeky it is. And yeah, it's a fun name. I'm also a massive Cold War history nerd. So there's like a number of reasons why Strangelove felt right for me. It was a good question, though. Any other questions? What do I think about Turkey so far? The food's amazing. The people are absolutely wonderful. And it's spectacular. I really can't wait to get to go see the Blue Mosque and the cisterns and the walls of Constantinople. I've read so much history about this place, but I've never been here before, so this is a wonderful opportunity to see it. All right. Still waiting here. All right. Oh, my journey in crypto. I think a lot of folks here know that one. I've told it a large number of times. Do you want to just throw up what we have as far as slides? Are there more than 6 slides on that, or is it only 6? Just put up the interchaintest.pptx, see what's in there. It is the right one. It's only a subset of the slides, though. There's only like 6 slides. I had more like 20. Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, okay, we can start here. This is great. Oh no, this is Dan's presentation. That's right. That's what that is. I could tell you guys about Interchaintest. That's pretty cool. But I'll save that for Dan from our team for tomorrow. Interchaintest is the premier way to build and test IBC applications. It lets you seamlessly spin up any number of different Cosmos chains in a testing environment, connect them via IBC, and run end-to-end unit tests. It's powered by Docker, and it's used by all of the major IBC teams. So yeah, if you're looking to learn a little bit more about that, go check out Dan's presentation tomorrow, I believe. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, so what I was coming here to talk about was actually the IBC roadmap that we have. And there's a few key pieces on there that I'd like to sort of like chat about briefly. Let me think. Any progress here? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, so that fee grant feature I mentioned will make relayers faster. And actually, if you go check out, the Go relayer is extremely performant. We've done a lot of work to reduce RPC load and increase transaction inclusion. The fee grant work is only part of it, but it is an extremely performant piece of software and broadly used within the interchain. So yeah, we're constantly working to make it faster. Push-based or pull-based? I think ideally it should be push-based, i.e. the Tendermint node should push the events out to the relayer. However, the existing Tendermint WebSocket implementation, as are all WebSocket implementations, so this isn't necessarily Tendermint's fault, it's just WebSockets are kind of flaky and unreliable. You can do some connection reestablishing stuff, but what we found in our testing is that that's not really effective in driving efficient performance. So what we've done is created a pull-based mechanism where we're pulling every block and using the previous block times to estimate when the next block will come out so that we have minimum load on the RPCs. Out of that block data, we pull all the events, and then we create a synthetic event stream within the relayer where, in effect, from a programming model perspective, it feels push-based. So does that answer your question on that? Great. Awesome. Pardon? On relay rewards. Yeah, so the ICF team has built out in-protocol fees with ICS 29. That really hasn't seen broad adoption, and I think a major reason for that is protocols don't really want to add additional layers of fees for users. And that's really a hard problem, and practically, the relayer market works fairly well right now. There's a large number of independent providers, there's a large number of buyers of that service, and there's a literal market there. I think the next step would be to put that market on chain and allow it to be more permissionless instead of having to go through humans. The TFM team has kind of pointed the way here. They have an interface where you can go say, I'd like this route relayed, and they'll go spin one up in the background. So I think that Skip is also working on something in this area as well. So there's a lot of progress on that fees issue, but I think that because we work in crypto, there's a strong desire to make it very quantified. But in reality, the easy mechanism that we launched with where validators and chains have this strong incentive to pay for relayer services, that was kind of the core thesis behind launching the way we did, has played out really well. And IBC has been able to scale to huge scale, and even during the Terra days, when we were doing billions of dollars a week, it was crazy. Relayers were still extremely performant back then. And we've only increased the performance of the software and the ease of using it. So I think that's the answer on the relayer fees stuff. Is that a good answer there? Thank you. This is it. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Pardon? Cosmoverse, yeah, Interchaintest natively supports Cosmoverse. You can go deploy your smart contracts within that testing environment or start chains up with those Cosmoverse contracts already. It's a great way to go. All right, so Strangelove, thank you guys for finding my slides. Really appreciate it. I will try to keep this relatively short, so I'm going to just touch through a bunch of this. Thank you guys, really appreciate it. Thank you for all the questions, by the way. Okay, all right, Strangelove. Oh, that's why. Who are we? We're a validator, an open source lab, and a dev consulting firm. So I've talked a lot about the open source lab and a little bit about the dev consulting firm, but I have not mentioned the validator at all. We recently transitioned to bare metal, and as most of you folks know, we build and maintain Horcrux, which is the premier piece of validator operator software. We're active on around 11 networks right now with plans to expand to many more as the Cosmos continues to grow. Here's the full list of different things that we've built. What folks are probably most familiar with recently is things like swap and forward and packet forward middleware. Interchaintest is another big one, but I think that over the next year, a lot of folks are going to be talking about the WASM-like client that we built that's going to help enable connections to many other blockchains through IBC because it allows for the inclusion of Rust-based cryptography. We're extremely excited about that. Here's the full list of different partners we've worked with. You'll see most of the chains in the Cosmos on here. That's because Strangelove, like Binary and Informal and many other teams, are sort of quietly behind the scenes helping make sure everything works together and the Cosmos continues to hum and you guys can continue to be able to make transactions and go trade on Osmosis. We believe that centralized bridges are dangerous, but they're winning. IBC needs more adoption, and we need to bring it to more and more ecosystems. And it is imperative that we do that now. We're at this point where it's extremely important. So how do we drive IBC adoption? We need to target developers and give them the tools they need to make it easy for them to deploy on IBC and utilize the full features of the protocol. That WASM-like client I mentioned is an extremely important piece of that. Right now, in order to write a new IBC integration, it's extremely painful. We've done the first couple of these now, and we've helped make it easier. And a key software artifact out of that is that WASM-like client. This also allows for chains to upgrade to different consensuses relatively easily because you can swap in different contracts through that WASM Lite client, which is a really cool thing. We're planning to expand this to many, many more networks over the next year. And Brian talked a little bit about the road mapping process. You can go follow along with exactly what we're planning in that road mapping process. One of the other features that we're planning to bring is a more full-featured Interchaintest. Right now, it's a heavily Go-based system that relies a lot on CI, but we can use this to build out a local interchain that just creates a development environment with any number of different chains configured by a simple configuration file. This is in beta right now. You can go test out the early versions of it. We're really excited about it. Part of that work also allows you to use Interchaintest from any number of other languages. This would be like TypeScript and Rust, so that if you're writing contracts in Cosm WASM, you can have your interchain testing environment and you don't have to pull out any Go to do it. Generalizing IBC is another really key thing that we need to do over the next year. Right now, IBC Go is heavily tied to the Cosmos SDK, and a lot of it, through our work in bridging to Polkadot and Penumbra and many of these other blockchains that we've already worked on, there's a lot of Cosmos-specific assumptions baked into some of the code. Generalizing this to allow it to be imported into things like the Optimism stack, or Avalanche, or any number of other projects that are built in Go is really critical to the continued adoption of IBC. We're looking forward to working on this with the Interchain team. One other thing that I do think we need to do is, in advance of building more full-featured light clients for optimistic rollups, many of which don't even have the cryptography to support those right now, what we really need to do is figure out ways to distribute the developer semantics of IBC to more users. And if you look at products like Composable and Polymer and Union that are all coming to market soon, all of those are individual blockchains that will embody a connection. That looks very similar from an architectural perspective. Octopus Network would be another one. That looks very similar from an architectural standpoint to something like a wormhole or a hyperlane. So what we're proposing to do is build out shim layers that allow developers to use the IBC developer semantics on places like Base and OP, but use many different forms of transport in the middle, such as wormhole or Axelar. We think this is really important and will help get us out in front of more and more developers much more quickly, and then we can follow on with higher security options in the future, because this is effectively what is happening with IBC expansion right now. So expanding IBC outwards is one key piece of continuing the dominance of this protocol, but the other key piece is deepening the ability to compose within the protocol itself. One way to do this is with Atomic IBC, and the other way to do it is by leaning more directly into the asynchronous nature of IBC and allowing developers to build things like IBC.fun or TFM or Squid. And the middlewares that we've built that have helped start this revolution in IBC user experience, we need to kind of continue to double down on that and make more and more of these things and make it easier to build and deploy them. We think that this is going to lead to IBC having by far the best user experience, not only from a developer perspective, but also from a user perspective of not just any bridging protocol, but of any blockchain. And I think Sunny's talk about the account abstraction work they're doing shows the power of IBC in some of these more advanced features. Just to recap, developers. We need them. We need adoption, and we need to bring more users into the space. And to do that, we need to make the software easier to use. We write software all across the interchain, and we love to collaborate. We work on the Comet side of things. We've collaborated with the Informal team a number of times on that. On the Cosmos SDK, I used to be the product manager. We work closely with the Binary team on a number of initiatives. Cosm WASM, we support a number of Cosm WASM devs via Interchaintest in the native support there. And then in Cosm.js, we're also looking to work to integrate Interchaintest into Starship, which is a piece of software from the Cosmology team. If you're interested in learning more about the Interchain, come find me or any of the other Strangelove team members at our booth. I love to talk. I love to answer questions. Thank you guys very much for your time and sticking with me through the tough beginning of that. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.